look it up unless anybody else on here has heard that or seen it. There you go. Bosn Thomas, great. Thanks for sharing that answer. So, BM1 Bossinger, Bosn Thomas just said if you are in BPR, there's no longer a force comm inspection. So that's great to know. And to go into that, so I ended up shifting my training to today. I want to thank Bosn Thomas for shifting with me. She'll be covering public affairs, inspections, and education on Thursday at 2000. Some operations have changed for me, so I'm currently, I was hoping to get that changed, and again, Bosn Thomas rogered up, and so thank you. So tonight I'm going to be going over a topic where some people have struggled on boards, and the topic is piloting. And to talk about that, we're talking about more like 3-minute, 6-minute rule, something that we as BOSA mates should know very well, but it's the easiest stuff that sometimes we forget to look at and refresh ourselves on, because we're always hitting the books, looking at policies and everything else, where we all forget that, basic BOSA mate stuff is also asked on the boards, and they're asked for a good reason. It's a softball question. It's to get you comfortable in the board and answering questions. So, if you're throwing up a question, a softball question that's basic BOSA mate knowledge, you should be nailing it. So I'm going to go into it. So first off, what is the 3-minute rule? I have seen it in the past and seen in other units when you ask that question, they give you the answer. Well, you just take the decimal point and you move it 2 spaces to the right? Well, yeah, that's the easy way of trying to figure it out. But you got to know how you actually find how far you traveled in 3 minutes, right? So the answer you should be giving is it's your speed in knots multiplied by 100, which equals your distance traveled in yards in 3 minutes, right? So again, for example, hey, good evening, everyone. Bosn Silva here, going live for the OIC college training on Facebook. So I'm going to wait until a bunch of people get online. We got Chief White, you kill me. I guess, BM1 Bossinger, what do you got? Shoot a question before I get going. I'd like to see this and see if we can answer this between myself and some of the BOSNs and OICs that are, or those who have their OIC certs that are currently on here can help you out here. So what's the question? Say hello to the family for me, Chief White. Thank you. So I hear that force comm inspections has changed for smaller units. As of right now, I myself don't know about the change with force comm. I know it's been in the talks of changing it, making them one big inspection, so your unit's only having one inspection a year, but I don't know where that's fallen, but I can look it up unless anybody else on here has heard that or seen it. There you go. Bosn Thomas, great. Thanks for sharing that answer. So B1 Bossinger, Bosn Thomas just said if you are in BPR, there is no longer a forced common inspection, so that's great to know. And to go into that, so I ended up shifting my training to today. I want to thank Bosn for shifting with me. She'll be covering public affairs, inspections, and education on Thursday at 2000. Some operations have changed for me, so I'm currently, I was hoping to get that changed, and again, Bosn rogered up, and so thank you. So tonight I'm going to be going over a topic where some people have struggled on boards, and the topic is piloting. And to talk about that, we're talking about more like 3-minute, 6-minute rule, something that we as Bosn mates should know very well, but it's the easiest stuff that sometimes we forget to look at and refresh ourselves on, because we're always hitting the books, looking at policies and everything else, where we all forget that, basic Bosn mate stuff is also asked on the boards, and they're asked for a good reason. It's a softball question. It's to get you comfortable on the board and answering questions. So, if you're throwing up a question, a softball question that's basic Bosn mate knowledge, you should be nailing it. So, I'm going to go into it. So, first off, what is the 3-minute rule? I have seen it in the past and seen in other units when you ask that question, they give you the answer. Well, you just take the decimal point and you move it 2 spaces to the right, right? Well, yeah, that's an easy way of trying to figure it out, but you got to know how you actually find how far you traveled in 3 minutes, right? So the answer you should be giving is it's your speed in knots multiplied by 100, which equals your distance traveled in yards in 3 minutes, right? So again, for example, if you're traveling at 20 knots, how far have you traveled in 3 minutes? And I'll give you guys an opportunity to answer that. One nautical mile. Yeah, but yes. So Andrew Knox, 2,000 yards. George, you're right. 1 nautical mile is 2,000 yards. But always remember, 3-minute rule is always in yards, right? Okay. So here's a question that you might get thrown at you. If you're traveling at 12 knots, what distance will you travel in 3 minutes? And then what distance will you travel in 1 minute? So again, you're traveling at 12 knots. How far do you travel in 3 minutes? And then how far do you travel in 1 minute? Right, you guys are on point. 1,200 yards, 400 yards. Okay, so if you're on the board and I ask you, you're traveling at 15 knots, how far will you travel in 1 minute? Nice. Okay, so now you take that, how far will you go in 15 minutes if you travel 500 yards in 1 minute? Right, 7,500 yards. So you guys are answering pretty quickly, right? It sure is cold here in Georgia. Oh man, it's a whole different spectrum here for me, coming from Michigan and Hawaii, and bugs too. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. So 6-minute rule. So again, know the definition, okay? Just don't tell me you move the decimal point one spot over to the left, because then that's not how you truly find your answer. That's the speedy way of just showing people a cheat way of doing it, but we really got to know how to really find that, right? So 6-minute rule is your speed in knots divided by 10 equals your distance in nautical miles traveled in 6 minutes, right? So if you're traveling 20 knots, how far do you travel in 6 minutes? Great. Everybody's getting that. Okay. So what if you're going 25 knots? How far do you travel in 6 minutes? Right. So all these questions I'm asking you right now are softballs that when you're on the board, you need to knock out of the park. Like you need to just, someone will throw that up to you. You need to like just home run it, right? Because that shows that you still attain the basic knowledge, but we're trying to get you into the seat and trying to answer questions and get comfortable with the board and answering those questions, right? So we're not doing to do no. There's no stump chump here. It's everything we ask is either Postmate knowledge, or it's regulation knowledge, or it's scenario based to see how your leadership and your decision making is, right? So, okay, so we're gonna move on. What is speed, time, and distance? Okay. Well, we all know that speed, time, and distance are critical elements in navigation. You need at least 2 of the elements to find your third. So if you're traveling 20 knots and you travel 14 nautical miles, how long does it take you to travel that distance? So we all remember 60D Street, right? Right, so Chief wrote, I was so nervous that I almost got a 6-minute question wrong. The seat is hot. It is. I got the 1-minute question wrong. I was trying to do 60D Street on paper. Like you get the nerves and everything starts. You feel that pressure almost from the board. You have like all those eyes on you, trying to get that question out there. So, 21 minutes, 1.25. You guys doing this on paper or on calculators? How's it going, Master Chief Jones? George said in his head. Okay, I'll ask you the question again. So, you're traveling 20 knots. You're going at 20 knots, and you go 14 nautical miles. How long did it take you to travel that 14 nautical miles at 20 knots? Jake, great answer. George Grant, you said 21 minutes. You did half of what it actually takes. 42 minutes is your answer. But, you got to think 15 nautical miles at 20 knots is 45 minutes. So, you did it pretty much close to it. Okay. So, how many of you got into the boat crew handbook navigation and plotting or piloting section? If you go to 3.f.11.b of the manual, there's the DST triangle. So it's a good way it's like a cheat. You put your finger over the one that you're missing, and then you use that to get your formula, how to figure out how to do the math, right? So just something to actually maybe print out, show your crew, quicker ways of doing this. I have this whole math thing I do when I do the 3-minute thing. I draw the lines. It's hard to explain on here, but I'll post it at some point on this OIC page. So that's just the basic nitty gritty for 3-minute, 6-minute, and distance, speed, time stuff. So the next thing we're going to go into is relative motion. And this is where a lot of people have a hard time looking at a motorboard and determining what they have going on, right? So let's talk about what is relative motion. So relative motion is the calculation of the motion of an object with regard to some other moving object, right? So you have two moving objects. Perfect example. So you're in your car on the highway doing 70 miles an hour. You look in your rear view mirror and you see a car closing the gap on you, right? So you're the center, right, of your motorboard, right? And then you look at the vectors on the motorboard. So now let's say, just like you're looking in the rearview mirror, you see this car speeding up, catching up to you. That's how you determine what each object's doing, right? So you're just a point on that, and you're not moving. You look at your vector, in which direction, and how long it is, and that's how you help determine all the other vessels around you, right? So always remember that any target pointing straight at you on the motorboard is constant bearing decreasing range when you're doing relative motion, right? So there's this cool PowerPoint that is on the portal, and I'll pull it up here to show you guys. That we'll use for this section. So, can I flip this camera around? Yes, I can. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Okay, so if you're given this motorboard, can you determine if any of these pose a risk to your... So anybody just shoot out an answer. Do you see any vessel on this motorboard that's a risk right now? Yeah, Zoom would have been a really good one for this one, but nothing appears to be verified visually. Good. All right. So I'm going to ask a question. You tell me the letter. Which vessel or which letter could be a vessel that's DIW or could be a buoy? Great. E. guys are getting it. Okay. So which vessel or which target on here is one that's going same speed, same direction? Everyone that's saying E, you're all correct. For the first question. All right, second question. C. 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 Okay, great. C. Okay, so what vessel could you be overtaken? Sorry if it's shaky. I'm holding up my iPad. Okay, you guys, whoever answered D, you guys are good. All right. Let me pull up another one for you. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to show you. Everybody take a look at it. Take a minute to look at it, and then you tell me which target on here, if any, you're concerned with. Great. So everybody's already that's answered so far. You're on point. And someone tell me why you're saying D poses the most risk to you right now. Nice answer, Andrew. Okay. What kind of situation do you have with D? people are saying special circumstance. What makes it a special circumstance? Bosn spoiling it. Alright. Remember, D is pointing at your CBDR, but what else you got going on here? You got passing a buoy, I see. Which one is that? Which one can be a buoy or passing? Passing buoys and channels. C is my CS. Multiple vessels just kind of have always drilled that. More than one responsibility on the board. Just use common sense. Okay, so B could be a vessel DIW or a buoy. What is A? That's right, Senior Chief. You're being overtaken pretty quickly. And what do you have? So, if you're the vessel if you're being overtaken, what part of the rules? So what's your responsibility? What vessel are you in that situation? Stand on, right? Okay, so you're the stand on vessel. So, I know nav rules is part of this, so we should all know our nav rules, right? So if you're a stand on vessel, you should know what? What's the shall, may, shall, right? So, even though D, CBDR, always look at what's closer, right? So Bosn said it, look at your time to CPA, right? So if you look at D's vector versus A's vector, how close A is to you, you're being overtaken. So you're a stand-on vessel in this situation, so you're being overtaken. Okay. C, we're not really caring about C because he's same course, same speed right now, right? So he's not a threat to us. B is a DIW or it could be the buoy, we're in a channel. Vessel A is overtaking us. Could be a small boat is overtaking us. So, like Bosn said, just don't jump to D. I kind of think I threw you guys into a trap, and that's where you have to really be mindful, thinking about, okay, D, yeah, CBDR, but what is A actually doing? A is overtaking you. So you're currently in a situation with a vessel already. So you want to, what's the rules say about when you're in a situation like this? So if you're stand on and you're shall, may, shall, and vessel A is overtaken, when are you deemed no longer in a situation? Welcome. Welcome, Thomas. Right, passed and clear. So what is passed and clear? Is it defined in nav rules when you're passed and clear? You as the OIC, where would you say is your passed and clear for you? You know, risk of collision no longer exists. A lot of people, do you have a distance for your underway OODs, coxswains, to say that you're no longer in once A is out of the picture, because now he's clear and passed, now what are we doing? We're looking at our picture again. We're looking for what the CPA from on D, right? Distance and time. Paul Russell wants to be in your video. Right. Hopefully this is helpful to all of you. We're opening your eyes to this. You might see something like this on your board. I mean, it could be this simple. It could be a little harder. It could be a little more complicated. But look at each vessel and make those decisions. All right, I'm going to switch myself back. All right, so take your time, look these over, get a clear picture of what you're seeing, right? So think of this as your underway OD calling you at 2 in the morning and painting a picture. Oh, no worries, Paul. So pretend like you're sleeping, and you wake up, and your ODs call you, and they tell you a picture as such, right? So we're training our underway ODs, A, to be OICs, in their career, and B, to teach them exactly what it is to give a proper report to you as the OIC or CO on exactly what you're looking for. And we all have my NAV standards, so you have exactly what you want them to say, which is good. For CPA, what CPA do I have? I think Bosn Thomas asking what CPA I have. My DWOs call me. That's passed and clear. So I vary my CPA, and the reason why I do it is daytime is because you can see, you have a better picture. At night, I've increased it a little bit just so it gives us a little bit more time to get the brief, to also get be woken up, brief, see the picture, understand the picture, so we can make that decision. My OD's telling me, sir, I have this vessel, blah, 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 I recommend we maintain course and speed, right? So, as the OIC, you want your conning officers to give you those recommendations or make those decisions, right? And then when you agree upon it, you just tell them, all right, sounds great, keep me informed if anything changes, right? As long as they're following your NAV standards and standing orders, your night orders on the cutters, there shouldn't be an issue. So like for me, my CPA is 1,000 yards during the day, 2,000 yards at night, right? So if we're going at different speeds, I might change, hey, in my night orders, I might change it to say, hey, at 3,000 yards, contact me because of speed we're doing or other things. So you can always use your night orders to give those orders to your underway ODs. There it is. So, I think that's really all I have. Best thing I'm going to say is make sure you guys and gals are sitting down, looking at these, going online. There's tons of them out there. Different people do videos on them. There's PowerPoints on Coast Guard portal. But grab a bunch of moboards and just have somebody draw stuff out, like somebody at the station or something. You just look at it and try and get yourself an overall picture and just practice. If you're not practicing it, and then you see this for the first time in a board, and you haven't to sit there in the hot seat, like feel the pressure. But by practicing it and looking at these different ones, you can be a little bit more proficient at it, right? So that's what we want to be. We want to be very proficient at it. So, are there any other questions or concerns? I know I only went for a very short period of time, but I think I covered the topic best I can without having you guys on here too late. So open for a couple questions before we get offline here. Wow, it's actually went by quick. 40 minutes already. Oh, Nick wants me to end it with some music. I think my BM1 and BM2 that are currently watching know my music, so I guess I can do that for you. No problem, Jeremy. Glad to have everyone else on here, the OICs and COs that helped us out and gave us the answers too. So.